TikTok account and filmed a very interesting interaction that she had in a Little Caesars fast food pizza restaurant. Check it out.
Cool. I just want you to tell Little Caesars that you just refused 60 cents, and I just brought my baby in here and I had $7. That's cool, but you see I'm crying. It's cool. I just want them to know. I just want them to know that you couldn't help me off of 60 cents, and I'm trying to feed a baby. Baby, off of 60 cents. 60 cents. You couldn't let 60 cents slide. You couldn't let 60 cents slide. Now my baby's still gonna be hungry, but it's okay. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You about to go back.
So as you saw there, she was very upset because she was short 60 cents to buy food for herself and her child. And, she had a little bit of back and forth with the employees, and she said you guys are going to go viral toward the end of the video. Now, I will tell you in the comment section, the opinions are split because many people are saying, you're broke. It's not the restaurant's fault that you don't have 60 cents. You can't make them this, that, and the other. And then there's some people like, yeah, they probably should have tried to help her, right? But I'm one of those people, like if I was working there, I would have said, ma'am, don't worry about it. I'll make sure the 60 cents, gets into the cash register, because as an employee, yeah, you do get in trouble if your cash register comes up short or if you have too much money, because the restaurant is like, okay, well, for one, you can't count, and somebody, a customer didn't get their proper change back. So there's issues on both sides. But me, I would have just reached in my pocket and put the money in or whatever it was. But to me, the bigger issue is it's not just her. She was just, in an emotional state to where she filmed the interaction. But there's a lot of people who are going to come up 60 cents short, not just on pizza, but at the grocery store, on their rent, on bills, or whatever it is. Due to inflation, the war that's going on, and even before then, let's keep it real. Black folks in America, we're catching hell for a lot of things, right? Benign neglect. But the other part of that is, especially Black folks here in America, we see almost $2 trillion, but we give 97% of that away. 2 trillion spending dollars, right? Power that we have, and we give most of that away instead of building our own restaurants and our grocery stores and, all the businesses and all the things that we need. And we could use that money to help our own people. Train our own people. That God forbid somebody comes into one of our restaurants or our grocery stores and they're 60 cents short. We could say, don't worry about it. 60 cents, it'll add up after a while, but we got it. We'll take care of it for now. We're not going to stress customers out over 60 cents and flip it and all that. How do you see somebody in distress? And I get it if you don't want to help, but to go back and forth and all that, listen, we're living in a time to where people aren't compassionate. Which is why I always say I'm not going to eat at a lot of these places, because if you talk to customers like that, or you'll beat down 75-year-old women, and I'm not going to eat there, because ain't no telling what you're doing to the food, because you hateful. Think about it. A lot of these restaurants are hiring these kids or, the foreigners and different people who are not compassionate, especially to Black folks, where they would beat you down, talk to you crazy, and, probably do something to your food that you ain't asked for. Which is why it makes sense for us to not give our money to people in places like that. Little Caesars is a pretty popular chain, and I'm not saying it's their fault, rather, that the sister didn't have the 60 cents. But I don't know, maybe there needs to be some training. I remember back in the day, at different like liquor stores or gas stations and things like that, they would have like a cup where you could put your spare change in there in case somebody came up and they were short, and they could take a couple of pennies or whatever it was in there to help make up the difference. So maybe, people can start doing that again. Put a little help jar for people who just want some pizza to feed their children and they don't have the money, and they can just dig in there and say, here, will that work? But it's sad. I feel sorry for her, because I couldn't imagine not really being able to feed your child, and you're probably already up against the wall and you're like, what do I do? So we have to come up with some solutions, especially us as Black folks here in America. We really got to figure out a way to help our people, because we have what it takes. We have the money. we just give it away to everybody else. See, for me, when I see stories like that, I mean, I don't eat at Little Caesars anyway, but if I did, I wouldn't eat there because I don't like the attitude of the employees. Again, I'm not saying they had to help her, but I think there's different ways to deal with that kind of stuff. You drive a customer that's already at their wits' end to the point of being that emotional. I don't think I'd want to give my money to any establishment that lacks compassion for people who are trying to feed their children. So, y'all let me know what you think of that. And for more insightful commentary, please subscribe to this channel and my channel, The Demetra Kaye Show, here on YouTube. Peace.